Charlie needs seats. I sit here, okay? Oh, I am. Right up there. Leg. That's what that tells me.
Welcome to worship with the Universalist Unitarian Church of Peoria. My name is the Reverend Jennifer Innis. It is my great joy to be the minister with this congregation of all ages and all seasons of life. Whether you come here for the thousandth time, or this is your first time here, wherever you come from, whoever you are, whatever your accent, whomever you love, whatever religious beliefs you hold, you are welcome here. You are welcome here as you are. Ours is a tradition that embraces heresy. Yes, we are the big heretics because we embrace choice and agency in body and mind and soul. Ours is a faith that affirms we need not think alike or believe alike, but we aspire to love alike and act in real ways from that love. Not just the cozy, warm, tangible, but real and tangible caring for each other, for every person, for the whole world. We affirm that every person is worthy and every person deserves love. And we are firmly committed to this world, to the struggle to make this world a wonder and a place of abundance and life. That same spirit of love calls us to fight for human rights and to be good stewards of this earth. We recognize we are part of a deep network of relationship through the past and the present and the future. This is the ancestral home of the Peoria people. They and other nations were here long before the first European settlers came down the Illinois River. And so we take a moment in our service, as we have been asked to do, to recognize the Peoria people for who they were and for who they are today. I want to thank folks for joining us today, whether in person, whether online. If you are new to us, thank you. Thank you for finding us on this day. It is no small thing to venture into a new place and a community that is new to you. So help us get to know you. We have plenty of name tags. We welcome all the questions. And stay for coffee after service in Fellowship Hall or in the Zoom room if you're online. I want to say new visitors are welcome to keep, if you brought children with you, you're welcome to keep the children with you in the sanctuary for the service, but you're also welcome to come and check out our religious education program when children and youth leave for class during the service. Can we say Jessie Lachlan is our religious educator? She is the person to go to if you have children and questions. I have a few notes for this morning. Including, please make sure your respective devices are set to worship mode, which is buzzy or silent. Thank you. Folks are happy to help if you have a question. Today is the first Sunday after the election. It's so good to see you all. It's just so good to see the people. As a people who believe in inherent worth, in respect for agency over one's body, mind, and spirit, working for justice and a healthy planet, this congregation is deeply concerned about the state of the world for our own sakes and for that of our neighbors. So this service speaks to the struggle of this moment and how to proceed. So in that spirit, I chose the title for today, not knowing what was going to be needed. I chose the title Orientation. And I hope as you came in or in the course of things, you received a blank piece of paper. If you haven't, we have more. In the course of the service and maybe during fellowship afterwards, I invite you to do a tangible thing, which is write down 5 things you want to be sure to remember. What will serve as your personal touchstone? What is your sacred text in this time? And that will evolve, but what is orienting you now? What is serving as your compass and North Star? Today, after the service, is our soup lunch fundraiser for Pleasant Valley Middle School. Each week, members and friends of the congregation pack bags of food and send them home with some of our most marginalized families in our neighborhood. The soup lunch is the one great fundraiser for this program, in addition to private donations throughout the year. And I think we need something like 5,000 a year, give or take. Is that about? So we really want to make sure to take care of that well. We take cash and cards, and I want to invite stay and enjoy the good food. Whether you knew the lunch was happening, just stay. And this meal is also open to all. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. is our memorial service for Shirley Cunningham, one of our beloved elders. Loved music and beauty and so much more, was so deeply connected with the community. And this coming Saturday, we have the celebration of life for Heather McMeekin. Heather would be in the front row on this Sunday, I'm just saying, if she could be, because she was an activist and a fierce warrior and a beloved friend who loved art and beauty and saving the world. Join us for that service, please. And next Sunday after service is our fall congregational meeting, November 17th. Members are encouraged to attend. Please do. We have some really important financial updates we want to convey to the congregation. And it's also the chance the congregation has to vote on social justice projects for the coming years. We really need your vote to go forward with some of these. So please attend. And now, let us rise and sing. We enter into this time in the service with our opening hymn, number 170, We Are a Gentle, Angry People. Please follow the lyrics on the slides. Let me invite Holly Green and Jamie Harold forward for our opening words.
Okay. I got here too. So. Okay. Come in and bring everything you have. Drag in your fear, your doubt, your anger. Carry with you your heartbreak, your desperation, your feelings of being small or alone or abandoned.
Leave nothing by the door for you to pick up on your way out. Bring it all in, here, to your people. Even if you don't know a soul in the room, we are for each other. We are what we have. We are what we need.
Let's make room for each in our fullness, and let's make that room for faith, hope, and love, which are also today looking for a home.
Even in this cold, hard space, we create softness. We create welcome. We create warmth. Where all of who we are can rest.
And I invite Katie Jones for our chalice lighting.
A Chalice Lighting for Challenging Times by Reverend Lisa Doge. The flaming chalice became a formal symbol of Unitarianism during World War II, when the Unitarian Service Committee helped people escape the Nazis. The question comes, why a flaming chalice? It's the cup of life, we answer, a cup of blessings overflowing, a cup of water to quench our spirit's thirst, a cup of wine for celebration and dedication, the flame of truth, the fire of purification, oil for anointing, healing out of chaos, fear, and horror. Thus was the symbol crafted a generation ago. So may it be for us in these days of uncertainty, sorrow, and rage, and a light to warm our souls and guide us home.
I am sending you light to hold you, to heal you. I'm sending you light to hold you in love. I'm sending you light to hold you, to heal you. I'm sending you light, hold you in love. We set aside this moment for reflection, for centering ourselves, for being present to this community, for all the reasons that bring us together. So in our music for meditation, all are welcome to come forward and light a candle. For those who are online, let these candles be for you. Let us enter into our music for meditation. from the Reverend Steve Garnis Holmes. Breathe and brush your teeth and lament. Our sickness is greater than we let ourselves think, our wound more profound, but so is our love. Our grief and even despair are the work of the holy in us. Let your body feel your rage, let your voice find your sorrow, and let the river flow. We are not called to the end of winter, but we are called to bear the light that will become the spring. The mending of the world is threaded with simple kindness and courage, even as cold descends. We can love. We can love. This is the time for the sharing of joys and sorrows of the congregation. And I want to start with a joy. We wish Henry Rakoff a very happy 100th birthday. Woo! Henry will turn 100 on November 13th. We are celebrating with him today by helping him eat birthday cake. Today, as after you've had your soup. I mean, I go for cake first sometimes, but your order. Henry was born at home in Brooklyn, New York on November 13th, 1924. Along with his siblings, he worked in the family candy store and recalls feeding sugar lumps to the horses and pulling the milk wagons. Wow. Wow. Congratulations to Henry and to his whole family. And now I invite us to turn to the concerns in our lives. We have a note from BJ and Terrence Lindsay. We offer our care and wishes for health to Terrence's mom, Joanne, as Joanne deals with a health emergency that was just learned before service. So let us send our best healing wishes to Joanne and our care to BJ and Terrence and the family. We turn to sorrow. We offer condolences to Donna Dalrymple and her family for the death of Donna's grandmother, Clarabelle Dalrymple. Clarabelle had been diagnosed with lung cancer just recently and had been in hospice care. She was 96. We also have another sorrow from Mary Mulholland Kafar on behalf of her friend Amanda, that Amanda and her family are dealing with the passing of Amanda's dad on Friday evening after a long illness. We extend our sympathies to Amanda and her family. And in our larger world, this weekend on Monday, we recognize Veterans Day. I offer this from my colleague, the Reverend Audette Fulson. Today, we bow our heads in recognition of the great service and sacrifice some have been asked to make. We say thank you to our siblings who have served in the Air Force, the Army, the Coast Guard, the Navy, the Marines. I think today is the Marines' birthday today. We say thank you to all who served, whatever their role, wherever their service took them. Living through the horror that is war, facing death or physical harm is a specter looming around any corner. We say thank you and know it will never be enough. Help us to embrace those we have sent forth in our names into danger. Give us the strength of will to serve them as they have served us. May they never hunger. May they never thirst. May there always be meaningful work for their hands. May they receive healing care in abundance, and may we, the grateful heirs of a nation built on the idea of liberty, be faithful to pursuing that dream in our own lives and actions. May the superiors of those who serve be worthy of their service and their sacrifice. Help us to be vigilant and never complacent, and let each one of us take personally this charge. May it be so, and may it be so. Amen. We share one more moment of quiet together. Let us pause and breathe in this time, this one moment we know we have. Shalom, salam, namaste, and blessed be. I invite Jesse forward for our story for today.
Our story today is the story of a song we may all know, that maybe you've carried in your heart a time or two. We Shall Overcome, written by Debbie Levy, art by Vanessa Brantley Newton. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. In the past, when enslaved people worked long days with no pay, no say, no choice, the people sang. They suffered, yet they sang that they would be all right. It took a war to end enslavement. But even after, white people treated Black people as less than. They were no longer slaves, it was true, but they were not truly free. And so the people sang of overcoming someday. And it wasn't easy, but Black Americans and some white Americans did believe they could overcome unfairness. And since they were working together, the I changed to we. We shall overcome. And from the streets, the song reached the people. It reached Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and he took that song in his heart everywhere he went. The song traveled to lunch counters and spoke of not being afraid. The song crossed highways and spoke of not being alone. And that song went to Washington, D.C., where people joined hand in hand, and the song changed. Slowly, slowly, things were changing. How could one song stay in just one country? It couldn't. Across the ocean it went. It traveled to South Africa, where Black Africans struggled under apartheid. It traveled the globe, wherever there was injustice. "We shall overcome" was sung. And the song never left its American home. One president was followed by another and another. Progress was gained and lost. And today, people still struggle against hatred and for freedom, against poverty and for fairness, against despair and for hope. We still sing. We sing to declare that, yes, we are all human beings, deserving of respect, sharing the same planet and the same future together. I wonder if you can sing along with me. Just one verse. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Hope it is in my heart. I do believe we shall overcome someday. Thank you. I wonder how this song will change. And I wonder how we will change. The kids and youth are invited to join me back in religious education.
As we gather as a congregation, as a people in any given moment, on any given Sunday, we recognize how good it is to be together, how much there is to be said for being in this space, in this time, and to be recognizing and receiving all of the blessings, all of the abundance that has made this moment possible, that has led us to be able to gather in this way, in this time. Can I just say, if you are new to us, this is still a building that was built for this congregation and is still referred to as the new building, even though it's nearly 20 years old. But that's okay, because we kept so much from the previous building that was downtown. Look at the stained glass and check out those pews. They curve like a hug. All of these are reasons to be grateful in this moment. And so we make a tangible recognition of the gifts we have received, of all the legacies, of all the work, of all the care, by making a donation in this time of worship. So we'll be passing the plates shortly. But we also, in our receiving, we also do some sending out. We practice share the plate, which means we share a portion of our undesignated offering out into the world to a local organization doing really important work. Half of the undesignated offering each month goes to a local agency. For this month, for November, we are supporting Lula NFP. They are a Peoria outreach team that provides food, temporary shelter, clothes, sleeping bags, tents, bus passes. They help people survive. And they also try to do so in a way that recognizes how each person they serve has experienced significant trauma. Most suffer with mental illness. And even the smallest of donations go a long way for this group that makes it work so well every day. So half of the undesignated collection goes to Lula, half will go to the church. Please use the envelopes in the pews, and if you'd like to designate where your offering will go, please do so. And also go to the QR code in the order of service to make an online donation, and thank you. And now, will the ushers please come forward? Oh, hold on. It's on.
It's on. You are awakening to the same country you fell asleep to. The very same country. Pull yourself together. And when you see me, do not ask me, what do we do now? How do we get through the next 4 years? Some of my ancestors dealt with at least 400 years of this under worse conditions. Continue to do the good work. Continue to build bridges, not walls. Continue to lead with compassion. Continue the demanding work of liberation for all. Continue to dismantle broken systems, large and small. Continue to set the best example for the children. Continue to be a vessel of nourishing joy. Continue right where you are, right where you live into your days. Do so in the name of the Creator, who expects nothing less from each of us. And if you are not continuing all of the above in community, partnership, collaboration, what is it you've been doing? What is it you are waiting for?
The reading was from Venice Williams, a Black woman in Milwaukee who is a spiritual and cultural midwife, a lay minister, and someone who builds community with good food. Thank you, Joe, for reading today. I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our hymn number 108, My Life Flows On. Well, it's one thing to know that this might happen, even that there was a certain likelihood. And if you looked at the polls ahead of time, you knew it was likely, but it's another thing. It's another thing for it to happen. For the hope that, well, maybe the polls are wrong. We have seen such good work, such good effort and mobilization. Maybe the turnout will surge. Maybe folks will change their mind. And then for that hope to slip like water down the drain and see it go. To realize this is America. This is what people chose. These are my neighbors. This is what they chose. Not a minority, not even a quirk of the Electoral College, but an actual majority, and not a huge one, a narrow one, but still. I know that many of you are still living in the sorrow and the grief of this loss, of this clarity and these facts. I honor your sorrow and I see it as mine too. I see your rage and I honor it. Sorrow and anger are reminders of what we love, what we care about. So feel those feelings. And your sorrow is sacred and your rage is holy. A number of us gathered here on Wednesday evening to be in those first feelings, that disbelief, that fear, that anger, that panic. And you probably still there. I'm still there, and that is okay. Because you're not okay, and I'm not okay, and that is okay. I'll offer kind of a little bit more about the feelings for me. I am seriously in stunned disbelief. The last 2 weeks of events had let me hope. All that misogynist, racist, divisive language. How on earth is that not heard? The mounting voices cautioning against certain leadership and how that would sink us economically, for national security, how it would impact healthcare, risk our relative democracy. That teenage woman in Texas who died because she was turned away thanks to abortion restrictions. When was it enough? I'm a believer in letting people tell you who they are. I mean, we had Shakespeare, volumes. What the heck? Like many of you, I felt a certain confidence. They are saying the quiet parts out loud, revealing, hello. People have to listen, don't they? Well, many did and still chose. And many didn't or heard what they wanted and still chose. And I'm kind of just having a hard time being around people right now. Can I get a yo? An amen? Yo, yo, yo. Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't like humans at the moment. I love them, but I don't like them. Big difference. I think for me, beyond disbelief is the fear. How many people are likely to die because of certain policies and plans that are on the agenda? The scope of that just sets my heart. And the fear and already being tensed up. I don't know about you, but I'm already like in this alert mode for the increase in casual social violence that has been so successfully modeled by people in public and the supporters. Within hours of the election result, I don't know if you've heard about this yet, within hours of the election result, you had teenage boys harassing teenage girls with "Your body, my choice." Permission had been given and people were jumping at it. But there's also the casual violence against women, against people of color, against those who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, interfaith, intersex, asexual, plus, against anyone who disagrees or speaks up. There is modeling for punishment and revenge for speaking out. And I have been feeling moments of panic. I mean, I may get flustered, I may get overwhelmed, but I really don't have that level of panic that freezes me and takes my breath away, that makes me immobile. And I've had that several times this week. And there is grief for an opportunity lost, for someone my children could look up to. Grief for, on behalf of the fear of my friends and neighbors. But also fierceness. Fierceness at the misogyny and racism that showed up. These are clarifying moments. I had this foolish hope that competence and maturity would succeed. I'm not one to express anger and rage for a while, but oh, it's there. And it's showing up, especially around racism and the threats to the most vulnerable people. The policies and values that are on the agenda threaten millions of people: immigrants, same sex marriage, access to birth control, voting. And it took until sharing on Wednesday evening during our vigil to remind me that there's also global repercussions. Ukraine, NATO. I fear for the earth. Already, people are turning to boosting fossil fuel, while in North Carolina, people still don't have drinking water from Hurricane Helene. I think I'm also slightly still zombie. I'm not quite sure how to interact with the world beyond those I know well. There's so much to say about what happened, how we came here, and I will offer first that it is fine to take it at the speed that you can handle. I've only just begun to look at the unpacking. I catch the essence from short interviews. I can't look at my New York Times app. I can't. I can't yet. I have colleagues who are sharing brilliant unpacking, and I'm like, I can't yet. Because I have seen, and I was in Texas, and I have seen my colleagues in conservative states talk about what they already live under, and this is true. But there's a whole different conversation when it goes national. And what's also true in all the projections and all the plans and all that's been said is that we don't know how everything's going to turn out. We don't know quite what will happen. I was really annoyed at people who were saying that earlier this week. We don't actually know. It's true. Maybe I'm not quite ready to hear that either, but I will say it because it's also true. I don't know for sure. We don't know for sure. I will talk about how we begin to get through. So here's what I'm paying attention to. I'm paying attention to fascism in all its forms. I'm trying to learn from history to that end. One of the voices from World War II in 1944, Henry Wallace, talks about American fascism. American fascists are most easily recognized by their deliberate perversion of truth and fact. They use every opportunity to impugn democracy. They use isolationism as a slogan to conceal their own selfish imperialism. They cultivate hate and distrust. They claim to be super patriots, but they would destroy every liberty guaranteed by the Constitution. This was in 1944, remember? They demand free enterprise, and but they are also the spokespeople for monopoly and vested interest. I'm watching clips of the new Bonhoeffer movie that's coming out of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the Christian pastor who chose to be part of the plot to assassinate Hitler and was executed at the age of 39. I already know I can't watch that movie. But let me say, the actors have already made a statement to ward off efforts to turn the film into a voice for Christian nationalism. Hold on to the truth. Hold on to what you know is true. Do not let folks twist what the reality is. I am paying attention to alienation. How profound is the experience of isolation and alienation in our lives? And how people played that and used misinformation to enormous effect. How those of us who felt educated and informed and socially progressive, missed major populations in this process and have been missing them for decades. People live in profoundly different worlds. Millions of people, this might be news to some of you, millions of people do not know Rachel Maddow. I'm just saying. Where are your sources of information? And I think the alienation of young men in particular is not the fault of any one particular party or movement, but is simply a growing part of our society and is not to be underestimated. And clearly it was by some of us, by many of us. And the economics, how economics had an impact in this conversation is real because, yeah, the economy's great and so many people can't make it. So many people just can't. I am paying attention to what is most important and how to preserve the essentials of love and truth and justice and connection. We, in this moment, as we do every Sunday, as we do every day, we get to live into the mission of this place. We get to be the church. We get to be a theology that is welcoming, that is inclusive, that says every person has worth, that says we find truth in multiple places, that recognizes that each person has a voice and a vote. And we do so from a deep place of love, of real, authentic, like get in the ground and work for it kind of love. Love that actually makes justice happen kind of love. We get to do so by welcoming, by inviting, by being with one another, by being with people we have never met before who are truly from a different world in terms of experience, in terms of lives. And the living of this purpose, the living of this mission, I'm going to tell you is going to also be uncomfortable at times, because every time someone comes in that is new, we are changed. We are not who we once were. We need to let the beloved community keep evolving and keep breathing and keep saying yes to everyone who comes in the door. And we can do that because what we value is worth our care, is worth our commitment, and the world needs it. In our chalice lighting, we talked about how the flaming chalice was a symbol of the Unitarian Service Committee, as they were helping to get people out of the way of the Nazis, and they saved so many people. They didn't ask, about faith or education or so on. They simply said, "You are human, we want to help you." And that we continue to do. And this effort will test ourselves. We'll test ourselves. We'll test ourselves individually. We'll test us collectively. We will be having to ask again and again, what are we willing to do and willing to risk? And for those of us who have much and have resources and have privilege and have opportunity, we need to be the biggest givers. We need to be the biggest the people who say the yes the most. And we need to live in real solidarity with one another. To listen to the Black organizers who said you needed to do more and you needed to do things differently, and this is how. And not let the folks who have been doing this work for 400 years be the ones who keep telling us what to do, to expect more labor from them. We need to find our own labor and do it. And it's hard. And it's, boy, the temptation to let something go, to not be in the moment, to not step up or show up. And there's going to be moments when we can't. There's real factors in our lives. If something threatens our job, we need to keep putting food on the table. If we need to take care of our family, these are all true things. So each of us can be able to say yes in a different way, in a different level, but we're going to be asked again and again. But let's not, at the very least, give in advance. Don't give up already. As Tim Snyder in his piece on tyranny says, the first instruction, do not obey in advance. He says, most power in authoritarianism is freely given. In times like these, individuals think ahead about what a more repressive government will want and then offer themselves without being asked. A citizen who adapts in this way is teaching power what it can do, what it can get away with. Don't consent ahead of time. What is the lesson about power that we would want our lives to teach? I choose power together. Power together informed by love. We need to remember who we are and what we are about, the values, truth, science, to caution the temptation to think that any one of us is better than anybody. Collectively, we have this little habit of thinking collectively, oh, we're more informed, we're more generous, we're more aware of what's going on. No, don't. Don't give in to that temptation. We are not immune. And it shows up in how we talk about people, how we treat people. If we do nothing else but take care of that part of our own business, we will have done so much. Let me call your attention. If you had a piece of paper in the order of service, if you received that, if you still have that with you, if you put anything down on that, what you might want to. To what do you hold? And what holds you? To what do you hold? And what holds you? And create that compass with authenticity and humility and fierceness. My colleague, Connie Goodbread, boils it down. Know who you are. Know whose you are. Know what you value. Know who you are. Know whose you are. Know what you value. It is an honor to hold space for those we belong to. It's not necessarily just mission or obligation. It is an honor to hold space for those we belong to. So in this moment, in this time, in this space, we come to bind ourselves together to do the work that none of us can do alone. We come to bind ourselves together to do the work that none of us can do alone. My colleague, the Reverend Gretchen Haley, says, bring your heart here. Bring your broken, tender heart, weary and worried and disgusted and despairing. Give thanks that you can count yourself among the brokenhearted and the grieving, the disoriented and the afraid. Praise the good news that your heart has not hardened in despair or grief. Ground yourself in the grace that you are not alone in wishing for another world, another life more certain, a time that made more sense, a confidence in the future, a clarity of what it all means. Every new world begins when we show up in community with our broken hearts and refuse to forget our fear, but also refuse to shut down. When we keep singing and praying and sighing, when we play in the arena, when we find joy, even here, laughter and joy and courage beyond what we could have ever managed on our own, we are here. Courage to keep our hearts open, knowing they will keep on breaking. Courage to let what is beautiful be even bigger than what is broken. Courage to let what is beautiful be even bigger than what is broken. And courage to let this ending also be a beginning. For this day and this moment, these people and this hour, this is all still a gift. This is all still a gift to which we say again and again, thank you. Let us go forth. Amen. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 169, We Shall Overcome.
I think that's all. You may sit down. Well, good morning. Another brilliant oration by our amazing Jennifer. Let's give her a clap for her very great. And another wonderful song following it. It makes my heart warm because it's what we sang when I was back in the 60s marching along the streets. So it's a wonderful one. Today's final reading is from Reverend Peggy Clark. Knowing how quickly the flame of truth may be extinguished, that's both literal, mental, and psychological. How easily the chalice of fellowship broken. But let us be vigilant in faith. Let us keep peace in our hearts. Let us care for one another. The watchword of our lives together. So our light goes out everywhere into the world. Be sure to protect it as it goes out in the world and stay in your heart.
That what we believe in remains the ground of our being, that we might live locally, taking the day only as it comes, borrowing nothing from the fears of tomorrow, that with clarity and courage, we turn our hands to the work of love and repair that is given to us, that we commit to community, to take comfort in beauty and joy, that we never lose sight of our humanity and the humanity of those we encounter, with our very best being given to those whose struggles are greatest, that we remember even now we are never alone in the struggle for good. Our worship is ended. Let our service begin.
Oh, okay.